Hello there and welcome to the series of videos that's going through the content of A-Level Maths. Here we're looking at how we would find the area underneath a curve using integration so we can answer questions from exercise 13D and E. So this really is where maths does start to get really interesting. This is effectively the fundamental theorem of calculus in that the differential and integral are exact reverses, but the differential works out the gradient of a function, whereas the integral works out the area underneath the function, and how those two can be related is really quite interesting. So let's take, for example, a curve here that's f of x, and we have an area that's underneath that curve, which is the area A. Now if we want to increase that value on the area just a little bit, we're going to increase the value on the x just by a little bit h. So the small change in this area here, now this delta here represents just a small change in A. So it's not a multiplication exactly, it's just representing a small change in A. So the small change in A is going to be brought about by increasing the value on H just by a little bit. Okay, so we can effectively write the coordinates here on the graph as x to f of x and x plus h to f of x plus h. So we're going to look at just adding on a small slither of area onto the f of x curve here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try and calculate this area in two different ways. First of all, we'll look at using an underestimation of this rectangle here. So effectively it's base times height, so this is going to be a base of h times a height of f of x in this case here. So base times height. So the small change in the area is bigger than, because we can see we've got some area missing here, the small change in A is going to be greater than base times height, so f of x times h. And now we'll look at a slightly bigger area than what we're looking at here on the curve. So that's going to be the base, again here is h, and the height this time is f of x plus h. And this area here is going to be bigger than what we're actually looking for. So this time delta A is going to be smaller than f of x plus h times h. So what we can then say is that the small change in the area is in between f of x times h and f of x plus h times h. Now let's have a little look at rearranging this. So f of x h, the smaller area, is less than the real change in area that we're looking for, which is less than the bigger rectangle. So what we'll do now is we'll divide through by h, seeing as that h is not equal to 0, and it's a positive value, so this is all fine. And what we're going to do next is very similar to what we did in differentiation. We're going to look at what happens as we get h to tend towards 0. So this is cheating in a way, because effectively what we're doing here is setting h equal to 0, but we do it in such a way that we're not dividing by a 0 here. So as h tends towards 0, the f of x plus h in this bracket here is going to just get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it effectively is just f of x. So what we'll get here is f of x bounds together the change in the area divided by the change in x, or this is now turned into a differential. The difference in a divided by the difference in x, or the rate of change of a with respect to x. So here, what we get is, given that it's bounded in between two f of x's, it must be equal to that f of x. So the difference in a divided by the difference in x, or the differential of a with respect to x, is equal to the function x. So what we can then do, if we want to actually work out what this area is, and we've got the differential of it, then what's the opposite of the differential? It's the integral. So if we now integrate both sides of this formula here, we now work out what a is. The opposite of the differential here is a, and then we'll have to integrate our curve to work out what the area is. So I think that's really quite interesting, to be fair. So to work out the area that's underneath a curve bounded by the x-axis is the integral of our function. So okay, so that's what we're looking at here in this topic here. Now the way that we would work out just a small slither of this area here is to put it in between two boundaries. So the boundary B effectively is a superscript on the top of this integral symbol, and the A here is effectively a subscript on the bottom of this integral here. And these just tell you what are the boundaries on the x-axis that we're looking for here. So for example, we want to work out the area in between 3 and 1, it'd be a 3 on the top there and a 1 on the bottom here. And let me show you how this would work in a question. So the question is, find an area of the finite region that bounds the curve 20 minus x squared and the x-axis. So often we'll find that a sketch is a good way of visualizing the question here, and we want to find the area that bounds this curve here. So what we need to now find is these intersection points here. And we can immediately see that this is 5 and 4 just by doing a quick bit of factorization. So here we'd get 4 minus x and 5 plus x. Okay, so what we're going to need to do now to work out this area here is do the integral between 4 down to minus 5 of 20 minus x squared dx to work out this area here. So the first thing we'll do is integrate, and once we've integrated all of our separate 3 components, we now put it into what we have some square brackets in between 4 down to minus 5. Now the way that we include this 4 and 5 now is it's just been hanging off the edge for now, is we're going to now substitute these values in. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to substitute in when x equals 4 into the function to start with, and then we're going to substitute in x equals minus 5 as the second substitution, but in between this we're going to have a negative. So we're going to substitute in 4, substitute in minus 5, and then do 1 take away the other one. Okay, so substituting in all of these numbers, notice here how we're probably going to have a lot of double negatives appearing in this second part of the expression here. And we calculate this as 243 divided by 2. Okay, so we've gone through quite a lot in this example here. So to find the area under a curve, we integrate between the 2 boundaries that we're looking for on our x-axis here. The stages we go through are to integrate first, and then leave the 4 and the 5 off the end of some square brackets, and then we substitute both of these numbers in, doing one of them subtracting the other expression. We get 243 over 2. Right, okay then, so have a go at these questions here. So questions 2 and 5 from exercise 13e. Pause the video and try these out. Right, okay, well done for having a go at these questions here. So what we need to do for the first question here is integrate between 0 down to minus 2. Now I didn't mention earlier, but what we always need when we order these 0 and a minus 2 is for the higher number to go on the top and for the lower number to go on the bottom, or the higher number along the x-axis and the lower number along the x-axis. And we need to integrate our curve, which is going to be x cubed minus 4x when we expand those brackets. So the next thing for us to do is to now integrate in between some square brackets, just like this. So it's going to be x to the 4 over 4 minus 2x squared. So remember, increasing the power by 1, dividing by the new power. And now we're going to substitute in 0 and then take away minus 2 substituted in. So substituting in 0, we get 0, which is nice and easy. And then we're going to subtract what we get when we substitute in minus 2. So this is going to give me a positive 16 here, divided by 4, minus 2x squared, which is 8. So here we're going to get 4 minus 8, which is minus 4, but because it's a minus 4, we're going to get 4 units squared. So here we get the answer of 4 as the integral here. Right, so the next question here is find the area of the finite region between the curve with equation Okay, they're nearly the same, but not quite the same. X bracket x minus 4 squared and the x-axis. So what is this curve going to look like here? So it's going to intersect at x if we find a root, and it's going to intersect at 4 as well. And it's going to be a x cubed shaped graph because that's the highest power in the x term. So it's going to come down, it's going to be a repeated root of x equals 4 because there's a squared term on it. We've seen that from previous videos. So we're looking for this area here. So what we need to now do is integrate between our boundaries of 4 down to 0 of x. Now we've got to expand these brackets carefully. It's going to be x cubed minus 8x squared plus 16x dx. Now you may have seen a button on your calculator that can do most of the work for you. Just make sure that you only use this to check your final answer in an exam. So the integral between 4 down to 0 of x minus 4 squared is equal to 64 over 3. So once I've done all my integration, I should be getting 64 over 3 as my final answer. So let's take that away and have a go at it ourselves. So integrating the curve, so it's x to the 4 over 4 minus, to increase the power by 1, divide by the new power, so that's going to be 8x cubed over 3 plus 8x squared. Now, I didn't mention earlier, now what happens to the plus c that we were using earlier? Now, what will happen to the plus c, if we think about it being inside this thing here, is we'll have 0 plus c, we'll have minus 4 plus c, and then when we do the subtraction of c take away c, both of the c's will always cancel out. So the reason is because c's will cancel out, the reason we don't need c's when we're doing this sort of integration here. When we're doing standard integration without any boundaries, we do need a c. When we've got boundaries, we don't need a c. So carrying on, substitute a 4 in here, and we're going to get 64, and then the next part here is going to be 512 over 3, and then the next part here is going to be 128, and then we're going to subtract. We've substituted in 4, now we substitute in 0, and this is just going to be a 0. And now adding these three components together, and we get 64 over 3, which was what we were looking for when we checked our answer on our calculator. Right, well done for having a go at these questions here. Make sure you get lots of practice at exercise 13E, because exercise 13F and G are going to get a lot more complicated than this. So have lots of practice now so that it will find it easier when we come to the subsequent videos. Make sure you persevere through the difficult questions from exercise 13E. Do the questions until you've mastered it, not just until you have got 1 or 2 correct, and ask your teacher for help if you need any. Right, thanks very much for watching.